And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final matchup of this Playday, our final Playday of Stage 2 here of EUL Stage 2 2021. It's Rogue versus Cowana Gaming. I'm Mouse the Medic, host of the show. With me are the most creative M, and of course, G-Scout.
G-Scout.
All the way from Australia, mate.
There she is.
Live from Kangaroo Land. Everyone in Australia is on Neighbours at some point.
Everything.
That's very true.
Anyone Australian was on Neighbours at some point.
Yep.
I think the voice of Mozzie, Martin Copping, I think he was also on Neighbours at one point.
I actually think legitimately he was.
I think he was legitimately on Neighbours at one point.
Yeah.
Def
Or maybe
Marta, probably also on Neighbours.
Probably was on Neighbours. Probably was killed off pretty early.
What?
They kill everyone
Dev?
off.
What?
Yeah, people magically die in the show. It's
I was
very
watching
dramatic.
him today.
No, not in real life. Obviously in the show.
Oh,
Shows are fake.
The show is a drama, Milosh. Hello. How
Okay.
intent do you get into your TV shows?
very.
Yeah, clearly. It's like life.
Whoa.
Whoa, alrighty. Welcome
weird.
back.
Just for us.
That was like
Probably.
disco. I love parties.
Hi, it's the final game of the season.
Yeah, let's have a chat about our two teams. First up is Rogue, team that's had a Stage 2. No two ways
It's had a stage 2. It participated in
Yes.
stage 2.
We
Barely,
live in a society.
barely
correct.
participated, but
Wow.
they participated.
Wow. Okay, well, it's the last game. Let's go. Fire away.
Well, there you go. No, I did have an opportunity. Not hot take Jess I used to be, but that is the hottest take of the day for me. They participated, but as I said, almost were non-existent there. They are last placed on the leaderboard. They have 0 regulation wins, 1 overtime win to their name. It has been a horrific stage for them, but it does seem that this is kind of the curse that Rogue gets in since we've moved into this new season format of being a year. We get midway through the year and the boys go, I'm loving summer. I would rather focus on the sun than I would into my game and how we're performing, and we'll just pick it back up again in stage 3. If they can replicate that again, then they'll keep themselves safe from relegation, but things are still looking dire, and as a result, that 13% win rate, isn't 13 the unlucky number? Because that is how Rogue are looking this stage.
Then it's Cowana. Their opponents today, a team that's also not had the smoothest run through from what was a great first lead-in in the first split. Everyone was like, whoa, here's our new upstarts. Here's that CL team that does really, really well on the split. And then they did what the thing that some CL teams who did that did, and they started to not play so great. Now, obviously, over this game and the previous game, Kendrew is benched. Mr. Officer, the coach, is going to be stepping up into the mantle. 100% win rate in competitive for the games he's had to fill in for Cowana, where he's played in this, and he's played in the Yukon League as well. So he's no sort of fresh spring chicken. I don't know if that's the way around that phrase
I think spring
works.
chicken is the phrase, yeah.
Well, yeah, and he's not that. He's an experienced chicken. An experienced chicken with a gun and ability to kill people.
I would.
You can tell it's
Danger
our last game of the last play day, so we're just slowly slipping into chaos.
Slowly.
Don't worry, Em has been setting this up all day. Well, how about we look at which map we're going to be playing on in this series. Our lobby's pretty much ready, so we're just going to take a quick look at this one. It's our last game, and it's Coastline.
Oh, speaking of
boy.
chaos.
This is going to be very chaotic. These two teams on Coastline, I'm glad that Tim and Ace,
She's done it too!
Ace and Dez, in terms of casters, visually look like a pair of magicians, because this is going to be a magical performance.
We just need a top hat for
I think
Ace.
that they could be show magicians.
I agree. Here we go. We got a top hat. All ready to go.
That's not
Oh.
a top hat, first of all.
Firstly, it can be
Voila.
whatever I want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Imagination.
people say that's not a winner's attitude. No, I won. Of course it's a
Okay.
winner's attitude.
Coastline, I'll talk a little bit about the map before making jokes. You struggle with a very simple thing. That is a piece of string that has bested you, Milosh. Close up on Milosh.
27, I
This
have a bachelor's
chaos-
degree, okay?
This right here, this chaos that we're seeing here, that's going to be Coastline, because it's 10 fraggers going at each other on the final game on a very aggressive map.
There's so much chaos on this
This
desk right now.
chaos, this is going to be Coastline.
This is what you come here for, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
this.
Jess M, thank you so very much, ladies.
okay.
It's our last game. Let's kick it off with a bang. We're going to go to sunny Ibiza for this one. The Coastline, and of course, we got our UK boys to take us all the way down to Spain. Let's go Ace and not Ace. Enjoy.
Thank you, Milosh. As you can see, it seems that Des, he's given up. He's protesting. He's having none of coastline. We've had a very chaotic analyst desk as well. It's just we're on the last game. It's on the downhill. Des having none of it. You're on a solo cast here. We've got sombreros flying across. We've got it all going on. We're going to be heading into coastline. We've got Rogue versus Cowana coming up. We've got Des in a sombrero. You won't be able to put your headset back on now. This appears to be a solo cast.
As it always is.
As apparently it always is. I mean, the stings just keep on coming. They really do. But all the fun aside, all the fun and games of the last Playday of EUL Stage 2, we're going to get into coastline. Des, I believe you're back with us. You've decided to take up the mic.
Between Tim and Ace are casting this game and it being coastline, I wasn't ready for this. All jokes aside, this is the final game. It's a good bit of fun. It's a team in Rogue who last time they played this map told us we didn't come in with any strats. We just said, boys, pick whatever you want and have some fun. Cowana may be saying the same. I guess in Rogue shoes, you don't want to be the team that's saying just have a bit of fun, because they are in that bottom three, that kind of dead last 8 to 10 place. They're on 17 points. They are top of the bottom three. But in stage 3, if things go drastically wrong, they may find themselves in relegation yet again. This could be one of those games that you look back at and just say, well, bit of a mistake on our side. And the knock ban, make of that what you will, Ace.
Well, I think the fact that we're getting some interesting bans with knock and lion.
No. The lion's legit.
I mean, the lion
It's
is
legit.
fair enough on coastline.
It's legit. I actually genuinely think he's a really good pick right now. Gone 6, flashes, decent gun, decent gadget. Brings a lot to a team, Ace.
Certainly does. He's not going to be bringing anything to a team here on coastline, Des, because he's gone.
But M is glowing like the lady in white then. Oh, she stepped out of the... M, get back in the light. It's the lady in white.
Mirror will also be
It's
back.
a very holy presence, okay?
Mirror also banned out. We're going to have our final defender coming in. It's going to be Cowana to take the last
I've never
one
seen Aces
out.
without glasses until just then.
I've missed it. I wasn't looking.
I just realised I've never seen it before, and then I saw it just then, and I was like, whoa, my whole world has changed. And the one thing I'm sad about is Cryan has actually got his webcam on this time round. If you remember last week, we had his like portrait where his forearms look huge, and we told jokes about him like sliding his mouse and going straight through his neighbour's wall onto their
Without
desk.
even noticing.
I mean, he might do that. You just don't know. We can't see that side of his desk.
We can't guarantee that is not the case. As you say, Cryan certainly having the forearms to
Look at the smiles on Cowana. They're all so happy.
Everybody looks pretty happy at them.
I mean, when officers on your team, you can't help but smile. And
That's the mental's got to be high, hasn't it? You know,
the dude's just is 2 PMA.
Look how positive he
Look
is.
at him.
There we
Let's go, boys. Let's go.
He's bigging his team up. They're ready to go. The question is, they played with Mr. Officer last week. They had a decent performance, managed to get a win. Can they do the same again? 2 play days in a row. We're going to find out here and now, but you've got to start. The thing is, it is playing with a sub, but at least it's your coach who's got plenty of knowledge of the strats, where he's filling in, what needs to be done. So you've got that element at least.
He got a filthy 2K at the top of Freezer Stairs in Oregon last week.
He's got some skills. I've actually played with Mr. Officer.
God, you and him on the same team must be positively insufferable.
Honestly, it was positivity central.
Oh, you know,
I can't remember what it was now. It was a show match that we did for something, but I can't remember exactly what. But yeah, I played a few rounds with Mr. Officer.
I always describe Fraser as insufferably positive, but I can only imagine you. It's almost like there's some kind of weird, like, if this were like a certain game out there, this is basically if you took you, an officer, and fuse you together, you end up with Fraser. It's like the holy trinity of positivity. I don't want it in any of my games.
I'm all about it.
I just want to be the one who's tilted and negative all the time to bring some balance to the universe.
All about it, but we are now all about Rogue versus Cowana in our final matchup of the EUL Stage 2 here in 2021. And we're going to see. The thing is, Des, you know, we've said both of these teams might come in and just go for kills, just go for something a little bit different. But at the same time, as you said, we've got to remember, you've got to think towards that stage 3. You can't just be throwing it away. They need to come in, particularly Rogue here, who are battling. They had a tough stage 1. They're in that mix at the bottom of the table. If we look at the overall standings, every result could be very important.
You know, I'm honestly in half a mind just to let her hair down in this game, have a bit of fun with it. With the way it's been playing out so far, it feels like it as well. Finally, Gore gets challenged on the window, does find one for himself, and Corey trades it back. So that's our initial kind of scrap. All inside 40 seconds, I'll add, by the way. That is true Coastline
True
art.
Coastline style, we've got a very quick opening kill and then 2 more follow it, and we've got 3 dead. 4 versus 3 in favour of Cowana on the defence at the minute. Mr. Officer playing underneath on the Malusi. That's one to keep an eye on. Got an Nitro in hand, so could be there for the vertical denial should he survive later into the round. The other 3 Cowana players are in and among sight at the minute, just looking to hold down some angles, prevent the push of Rogue. But
that's not Grizzly.
With only 3 men on the side of Rogue, it could be a tough one for them to dedicate too much time and resource to getting down underneath and clearing the Malusi out. So could well be that Mr. Officer sees a little bit of joy with that Nitro in hand and the vertical play later into the round.
Yeah, could be. Keep a close eye on it. There you go, now the cameras are lined up properly. I was going to say, Grizzly's changed his look an awful lot to start looking like Officer. It's VIP wall being opened up. We speak about it, well, let's say a lot because we barely cast Coastline, thank God for my sanity. But normally opening up VIP here gives you a lovely angle all the way through in towards the site. But look at this, Officer, still lurking on the downstairs. The man really doesn't like the DJ decks, is what I'm taking from that.
He's had enough of that.
No more of that stuff the kids are into these days, he screams as he blows up the DJ decks. This is no longer a party.
It's too loud up there.
Look, it's 8 p.m. in the evening. I need to go to bed.
I mean, I can't say anything.
You really can't, no. You're an old man as well, I get it.
I certainly am. Right, we've got Corey. That's a bad throw. He's going to have to shoot the Selma out.
That was his last one.
It doesn't quite reach through to the quad wall there, so he's just going to go in route 1 through Aquarium, look to apply some pressure onto Hooker. Now Sloth is going to find a kill onto Aces, slipping the advantage further in the direction of Cowana here as they find themselves 4 versus 2. Not getting overly aggressive now, they really don't need to. We've got a Nitro potentially just being lined up there. I'm not sure it's going to make its way through for the time being. Just back onto his feet there. Sloth manages to find Cryan. 4 versus 1. It's all down to Corey inside of the Aquarium.
Good night.
Shut down by another Sloth kill. And that is going to be round number 1 going to Cowana.
Talent. I assume he's referring to Sloth here, who, a player that we spoke about a lot throughout this stage and last stage, has really struggled to find his feet in EUL in general, especially in stage 1. I think we've really struggled to see him get any real results. And then look back to last week, a big 4K in round 6. He's shown what he can deliver. And back in CL, he was, I think I coined him the Monkey King, so much so that he actually got it engraved. I think he bought a pair of AirPods, other headphones are available, and got it engraved on there, something like the Monkey King. And I was like, fantastic, because back in Challenger League, he was, and back in the Nordics as well, to be fair, he was the kind of player who'd be zipping around the map on a Jaeger, causing chaos on an Ashe. And in fact, I believe they are his most 2-played operators in this stage. But he really struggled to let that shine, I think, during EUL. I don't know whether it's a case of players are much better at dealing with him or his confidence was a little bit shook, but we didn't see what made Sloth such a phenomenal player back in CL. And clearly there's, commitment from Cowana side to say, look, these things happen, there's a bit of pressure, give yourself time to adapt and learn, see how you deliver going through. I'm not going to say based on that one single round there, you're starting to see that come to light, but we have seen a couple of games this stage, one on Chalet that I recall, where he does really start to shine and let us know what he's made of. So I'm really excited to see what another bit of a break will do, a bit of a reset in the team, of course, with the change that's likely to come in, given Kendra is on the bench. Maybe that's what he needs to get a bit of a reset and show us the Sloth that we all knew and loved back in CL.
The thing is, I mean, as you step up tier to tier, the opportunities to play in that fashion get fewer and fewer because, the challenge that you're facing is greater. Doing it in National Leagues, Challenger League is maybe one thing. Doing it against Shaiko, probably another thing. You're going to get closed down and shut out pretty quickly. So there could be an element of that where his play is just having to evolve as well into a bit of a different style because he can't quite get away with the same tricks that he might have done.
Speaking of tricks,
previous competitions. Speaking of tricks, we've got somebody who's looking to possibly dive out of pool entrance here.
Officer.
And start getting aggressive. He's going to dip away from it, but could well take a view. Now, Corey was actually, I think, going on to the rappel there. It looked like he has approached the door. He's going to look to move in and challenge.
Officer.
This is going to be a head-to-head. Officer's getting aggro, but no, Corey shuts him down. That's going to be the entry kill for Rogue this time around. 5 versus 4, and a better start for them.
Officer is just the new entry for this team. That's what he's going to be doing. You're going to see him at windows, you'll see him at doorways, you'll see him being the chaotic one on the team. To try and contain Sloth, playing a bit more passive. That seems to be the way that it's played out for them so far. Not quite sure about swinging onto Corey, though, or really any player here. Bit of a tough one to start things off. 5 versus 4 then for Rogue, and it's been outside of that kill, one of the more passive rounds that we've seen on Coastline so far this season.
It has been indeed. We've got I'm just interested in Gorgona down by the main reception there. Just going to hold his position for the time being. We know it's a very powerful position. He's looking to challenge onto main door now. Using that Vigil gadget, he's going to keep himself off the drones for the time being. Grizzly getting very aggressive here as the nade comes in towards him. He knows that one's coming, finds the kill onto Leon. That's going to shut down the Iana. Rip's not too quick to follow it up as he takes a whack of damage as well, leaving him at about 24 HP. So being very cautious in his push forward here. Gorgona on about half health, just in behind that reception desk still. Basically just completely halting any progress for Rogue here, trying to get themselves in from the outside through that main door. As long as he's there, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to do it. And Rips on that low health, just struggling to get forward and make the challenge. Sloth comes round on the rear side and finds a headshot to shut him down. 4 versus 2 as he gets himself a second and a third. Sloth's going crazy. That's a triple kill and 6 on the round so far. 6 on the game, sorry. 6 and 0. And Narkic to finish it off onto Aces. And Cowana looking good after 2. Look at the laughs and smiles all round.
I think it was Sloth there coming in from office. I think he caught one across in security, turned into a triple kill. It happens. He's now on 6 kills after 2 rounds.
0 deaths.
0 deaths, yep. All right, good start for Sloth and for the boys. I mean, look at them smiles. Even the Cygorg smiles every now and then. It's a rarity because he's normally a miserable little bugger. But he will smile from time to time, I'm told.
And you'll love to see it.
Sometimes you have to pay him to smile, but he will smile.
Round 3, we're heading in then. We're going to be going to Blue Bar and Sunrise this time around. Cowana looking very solid on the defence so far, and that might not bode too well for Rogue. As we know, generally teams will find a little bit of success on the attack here on Coastline. It's not, it's generally quite close to 50-50 really, it's Coastline. It's not drastically weighted in one direction or the other. So if Cowana can keep winning these defences, it's going to potentially prove very positive for them heading into the second half.
I think it is, Wade. It's 36% defender win rate.
This stage, because we haven't seen a lot of it.
We've seen one map of it, and that was featuring Rogue, I believe,
but
as well.
At points in time, it's been the most balanced map.
Yeah. And then we have... This is the lowest at 36. We have Chalet at 46. Then we've got like 3 maps that are all mid to high 50s. But you know what? Ace is going to do what Ace does best. And he's going to go, you know what, Des? Stop your chatter. Let me get my spreadsheet up and I'll give you the exact numbers.
This is what I'm saying. Back in stage 1, it was like 48% to 52. So it's generally...
I have been defeated by the math whiz. I cannot compete. I apologise, sir.
Generally speaking, like I say, stage 2, we have seen it pretty attacker leaning, but we've seen very little of it. We haven't seen an awful lot. But yeah, generally when you get more and more of it played, it does tend to be fair.
I'm so half committed to derailing this broadcast, and you're being so sensible. I admire
Somebody has to be. Look at that for a kill from Crime. Finds Gorgona on the long-range angle from the ruins and shuts him down for a nice entry there. That's going to take the Vigil off the board as well. It's a good start for Rogue, getting rid of one of those very troublesome operators.
Would have been cooler if he was Glaz. Throwback. Yeah. I think everyone remembers when they first started playing Siege, and one of the first times you see Coastline, everyone knows that you've got someone who's going to pick Glaz and spend 3 minutes sat in ruins.
On ruins.
You know they will.
Now it's Carly instead.
Yeah, that's even worse. Ugh. Well, saying that, Glaz got buffed. We've seen him used a little bit this stage, once or twice.
We have?
I think APAC teams used him. We saw the interesting counter spawn peak on Cafe, if you remember.
Yep, dumping smoke canisters onto the ground.
Drop a smoke grenade in spawn and step into the smoke, and they can't spawn peek you from windows. It is 200 IQ ace.
And if you've got the glass, you can see in reverse now then the Selma charge is just going to be cleared off with an impact nade. Grizzly manages to get a kill onto Aces to level things off. I'd imagine that the second Selma's just been cleared off as well. Rogue are trying to work themselves in from pool entrance here. They want to try and get a plant inside of the door there in the normal default spot, but in order to do so, they're going to have to clear out some of that utility, which is partially what they were trying to do with opening that wall up as well. It just makes sure that nobody can play in behind there. I'm not sure if they've been able to get a drone in there or not with Mozzie playing, so they might just be a little bit unsure now. Once again, Mr. Officer is just out on a bit of a lurk at the
legs.
Don't think he's going to see the angle. Rips doesn't get it through. Now Mr. Officer, he does dip away from that fight as the floor starts to get opened up. The yellow pings are coming in. He's going to be lucky to survive this one unless he gets out of the way. He manages to get it down. He keeps himself fighting, moving, ducking, diving. There's absolutely no stopping the coach at the minute. Out goes the Nitro, unsuccessfully shut down by Cryan eventually, leaving Rogue now in a 4v3. Leon will likely be collected at this point, I'd imagine.
Poor sod.
Back up onto 20 HP.
Officer just wants to kill, bro. Just give it. He's been so aggressive. Out of office, out of pool entrance. He just wants to get himself involved, and you're not letting him, boys. Come on. Be kind to the man. 4 versus 2 for Rogue. 15 seconds to play. At those numbers, you say they should win this one out. Well, Rips puts Anarchic in the dirt as they all push their way in towards blue here. Plant in hand for Corey, and Grizzly potentially able to play spoiler here as well. They're going in for the plant. Sees one, ignores him, going completely the wrong way. Does he know where the plant is going down? No, he does not. You look to the wrong place, my friend. Oh, almost ace.
It was a great effort from Grizzly. I mean, if that plant is going down in default spot behind bar, he wins that, because he comes round, they've absolutely no idea that he's in courtyard. If he just lets that timer tick down to 0, it's one shot, and it's very rare that you see it, but every now and again you'll have like a 1 versus 4 and they just get that single shot onto the planter, and that is it, round 1. And Grizzly, the thought process was there. You absolutely can't fault him for the way that he played that. The trigger discipline on the book to just let him go. He knew where his opportunity to win that was, but Corey, heads up, he'd planted behind the bomb chassis rather than on the default spot.
Oh, Ace, you should have told him before this to turn on Eagle Vision. Talk all this stealth and about courtyards. That was an assassination attempt from Assassin's Creed on the go there. A bit more information would have helped him. Knew where the guy was. Don't really think walls are really approved of in Siege, but at least in Assassin's Creed they're allowed. Let's see how round number 4 plays out. Oh, we're being observed by medics, by the way. The guy who just loves talking smack in my ear for half the game, it feels like sometimes.
And there he is, right on cue.
He goes in my ear.
Round number 4, we're going to be heading upstairs to Hooker and Billiards this time around. Cowana on the defence there again. They won the site back in round number 1. It was a pretty solid round from them. Sloth getting himself 3 kills and taking the round in the process as well. Now we're going to have that little, I'll call it a nested bulletproof cam put onto the reinforcement. I know it's one that you're a fan of, Des. So you rip the soft wall off there, you put the cam inside.
And that one's in jail, look at it.
Prevents the angles from the side to getting behind it. You put the Aruni laser gate over the top and it prevents the throwables getting in there to it. It's just really keeping that information as secure as possible.
I've just seen the last Playdays in the top left corner, by the way. Rogue. Loss. I predicted him to win today, by the way.
So did I.
Not that it matters anymore because I've won, but throwaway game.
Well, you're just finessing now, aren't you? You're just styling it out.
If they go on to win this, I swear to God. I don't know if I beat Socials, though. I think Socials like the final boss. It's like when I've beaten Hap and Jess. That's like, I've beat the final boss of like Jess and Hap, and then Socials exists, and yeah. They're all taking our jobs, honestly. This should be like one of them times where you displace the individuals, so no Jess, no Hap, no me, but we have the collective hive mind of Twitch chat just commentating and analysing the game. I mean, they're better analysts, clearly.
Well, they've got volume, at least. They've got numbers on their side.
That is very true.
Mr. Officer getting a nitro out of the window there at the top of White Stairs, unable to connect to, I think it was the Zafir of Cryan who was on the rappel there. He's going to keep himself safe for the time being. Rogue moving in pretty convincingly here onto the top floor, taking control, sweeping across. They need to be aware of what is going on underneath them, though. It's not something that they picked up on last time, and Mr. Officer wants to kind of tell you what, if he waits another second, he gets himself a kill there. But Leon very aware of his position down at the bottom of Cool Vibes Stairs, and will just put a few shots in his direction to send his tail between his legs, and off he runs back to site.
For now. This has been the most patient, calm, violence-free round I think we've seen. This isn't the coastline I came to know and hate.
The coastline that we came to expect.
Know and love is normally the phrase, but we'll go with know and hate.
Yeah, I've said it before. I enjoy coastline. I like the chaos of it.
You know why that is? It's because you're a masochist.
I like the chaos of it. Just get into the mix. You never know what's going to happen, and sometimes you just get these all-out blazing gunfights, and you get those amazing shots and big clutches, and it can be a real lot of fun. Now, Cryan looking to move through luggage to join Corey inside of Aquarium to mount some sort of push onto the default plant site, but with 45 seconds left to go, Rogue need to find themselves a few kills before doing so. It's still 5 versus 5. They haven't been able to find anybody as of yet. On the defensive side, there's no smoke, so no toxic babe canisters to be used here to prevent that plant going down. There's one nitro on side. Sloth still has one in hand, but it's not going to be an easy throw, so there could be an opportunity for Corey to get this plant down, and that is what he's going to try to do. He's got Leon on the cover underneath. Bait out the first nitro, well played. Sloth does get a kill, though, onto Cryan, and that just changes Corey's plans somewhat. Aces manages to get a kill, and this could be the opportunity. Corey needs to think about getting in, but it's all falling apart as Gorgona and Officer and Arkic on the party as well, with a double at the end, and Cowana take another round, and what looked well positioned for Rogue Rogue just all fell apart.
C4, C4, C4. It's a good dodge, to be fair, as well, to always pull back and let those C4s be baited out. But in the dying seconds, those gunfights, including one going the way of Officer, siding heavily with Cowana. Up to 3-1 they go. All I'm going to say is I'm so glad predictions did not come down to this last game.
Imagine if
Imagine if BDS had won.
If BDS had won.
And Jess and Hap had gone for Cowana.
It could have been interesting.
I went Rogue. I mean, they haven't lost yet. It's 3-1, but
Yeah.
I would have been heartbroken.
There's a long way to go. Officer just going to trade out Clash there to go back on to his constant pick of Melusi, as we've seen him doing each round so far. Round number 5, we're going to be heading back down to Kitchen. It is a site that Cowana won back in round 2. So again, they're just looking to double down here, just rinse and repeat that same rotation and look for a minimum of a 4-2 half before they move on to the attacking side. Now, I have that bulletproof utility played once again. Not possible this time to do it in a nest because of the way that the reinforcement has been done. If it had been done on the other side of the wall, then they would have had that option, but I don't think they'll worry about that too much.
What's your favourite site on this map, Ace?
My favourite site on this map?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're thinking about playing, I like Kitchen. I like Kitchen and Service.
Why?
It's the one time that I ever play Smoke, and I enjoy it, so I should probably play more Smoke.
Are you saying that you play Smoke other times and hate it?
No, I just don't play Smoke. I literally only ever play Smoke on Kitchen Service. I get my deployable shield set up. Basically, I do what an Arkic's doing, just not as well. I get my shield set up, and I'm playing smoke canisters onto the door, opening the rotations, fighting that vertical fight when they inevitably get established inside a penthouse. So yeah, I like this site.
I'm more of a Maestro stamp for this site, personally. Because I want to emulate Milosh. That's the only reason why.
Obviously.
Look at him with those braces, though. He's not even in the room right now. I'm still talking nice things about him.
Corey and Leon looking to get themselves inside of VIP for some vertical control, as we've seen countless times over the years on Coastline. They're going to look to open up some angles and just force those defenders to move around inside, particularly an Arkic in that position that I was talking about, that power spot that he's currently occupying with the smoke, where he's looking to play on to the service door. There's not much of a push coming from the service door at the minute, so he's able to pretty much focus his efforts onto the top floor. And how about that? What a kill from Sloth. Headshot onto Aces, and Gorgona doubles down on that, just making Rogue's day even worse as he finds the kill onto Crying, leaving us now 5 versus 3. Cowana looking good for this defence in round 5.
And Leon on the push through as well. This is the thing, drones at the feet as well. Very common to see attackers, at least, and this is the first time I'm casting serious, it feels like, in about 4 rounds, make it 5. Pushing it down here towards 90, clearing out the utility. They've broken this 90 hold coming out of Cowana, but it's still a 5 versus 3 for the defenders. So for Rogue, with 1 minute and 20 left, it is a lot of time. They've been quite short of time at different points throughout this game. But look at this, 3 of them currently spread around lobby and down towards security. 1 on site. So looking to play for the retake that we always talk about here, where the base said, right, you are the sacrificial lamb here in Arkic. You're holding on site, and you're just going to wait here to be in deep trouble. But I like how he's got his back up against the firm wall, the reinforcement, the shield in front of him. The man has basically locked himself inside a little house in the corner there, so no one can threaten him.
Well, he's moved his shield to enable him to do that as well. Ooh. Obviously, the deployable was originally set up alongside that bomb chassis, but he's just taken that down, moved it forward, adjusted, and thought, right, now that we've got that man advantage, I can get more aggressive onto this door. That's the only place that I really need to be worrying about. Officer trying once again with that nitro. Will have no success on the vertical. Now, he's got Leon potentially going to be dropping into security here. Could look to make a move through into the main lobby. Grizzly's going to be chased out of there by a nade to begin with, but Officer manages to lock down Rips, and he's going pretty well so far today. He's had a couple of important kills. They've come at the right time for Cowana. Leon ultimately shuts him down, but an Arkic straight on with the trade. It's all down to Corey inside of security. He spots the man inside of service, but with 13 seconds left to go, Cowana are just going to hold their angles. It's Sloth to find the man across the courtyard, shut him down with the headshot, and Cowana, they go even further into the lead here. 4-1 now, and they're starting to run away with this. Apparently,
Corey said he will retire if Mr. Officer drops 16 kills.
I mean, he's probably safe at this point. Mr. Officer's got 2, and I'm not, I said they've been impactful kills. Both of the kills that he's had have come at a nice time in the round. They've given Cowana a little bit of momentum. Is he going to get 14 kills in the next few rounds?
I'm kind of surprised Leon isn't just donating his life to Officer.
I'm not sure he is. I'm not sure he's going to get another 14, Des. And I don't think Mr. Officer would mind me saying that. I don't think he's going to get another 14 kills.
My sweet child, have I ever told you the story of Coach Hyperino? When he stepped into the team, as Officer has done, for one map, and one map only, for Chaos, the team destined for relegation. He stepped in for one game. What does he do? Top frags on Villa. 16 kills, I believe he got. Top-rated player in EUL, so much so that they had to erase his names from the history books. Take him out of the stats. He was just that good. Do not count this coach
I mean, we've
out.
seen some great coach playing moments. You know, let's not forget. We cannot forget Dizzle coming in
Yeah.
for Fnatic and just dominating EG on Oregon, just with the shotgun. They just had no idea what he was going to do. It was a wonderful thing for anybody who's a little bit newer to competitive Siege and wasn't around. I think it was 2018, I want to say. Yeah, 2018. It was the year before the first Invitational that I attended.
I was still a wee lad back then, mate.
Yeah, it was...
You were getting your first grey hairs.
Certainly worth taking a look at because it was a great game on Oregon.
I'm so sorry, by the way.
Oh, no, it's all right, Des. I'm used to it by now.
I think it's one of them when we've got to the last game of the
The
stage.
thing is, your day will come, you see. Your day will come and I will sit and I will mock.
What, when you're just like...
I mean, I'll
when
always
you're
be
on
older,
one?
but I feel like I'm beyond the threshold now. Beyond the threshold of life as Sloth is getting taken down there by Crying with a headshot to open us up on what is going to be our final defensive round for Cowana. It's Sunrise and Blue Bar once again, and this time Rogue seem to have a little pep in their stride. They're moving quicker, they're getting aggressive.
It's 40 seconds into the round, Ace. That's the worst part. We'll go and look into challenge and go aggressive here. Well, say go aggressive. He's playing behind the shields. Actually, no, he's not being aggressive. He's being very passive, in fact. Drone's coming round to the side. They're trying to pinch him from either side as well, so much so that they're now playing a bit of drone hunt. Can't quite kill the one that was playing around Sunrise. Finally, it's taken out. Officer shut down by Crying, and his woes continue here 2-4 so far in the game. Gorgona thought it was a real one for a second, and there's the real one as well. It's like playing whack-a-mole. Ignores the little bait coming out from one, then whacks the other firmly on the skull. Leon taken off the field.
That follow-up from Gorgona was wonderful onto the second man, just taking the crouch as he hit the shot, and all of a sudden Rogue just seem to have been stopped in their tracks a little bit. Time is not an issue. They've got all the time in the world, realistically, with 1 minute 30 still to go. Cleared out a lot of the utility. They've got their angle opened up onto the default plant spot, but Gorgona, he gets himself a second on the round, this time taking Corey down, who was playing on pool door. So that is the large amount of the actual pushing force for Rogue here that has been taken down. Instead, they're having to relocate, trying to get some vertical pressure. Crying's on low health as well. 1 minute 10 left to go. Cowana, actually after losing that opening battle, they're sitting pretty at the minute.
And you've got a Narkit with a shotgun at the bottom of the stairs. Worth mentioning, by the way, he is 4-on-1, and for a player who had a really rough early stage, I mentioned about his 2 kills in the game last week against Secret, both in round 1 and round 2, walking away with 2 2Ks. Really impressive for a player that has been quiet. And he said as well, you're probably going to start seeing the real me right now. I'm working a lot closer with our coach, with Murat, with Mr. Officer. And you'll see us working some absolute magic. We had all the calls coming out from the DKB as well. So a 3 versus 3 with 40 seconds to play. They must know that an Arkic is holding at the bottom of the stairs. That shotgun trained onto the stairway, waiting for someone to come pushing down. Aces might try his luck, has someone ready to swing as well from that hallway down to the south. Cowana, patient as a saint.
They definitely know he's there. Crying and Rips have both had a look at the angle, but neither of them have been able to find him. Now, Anarchic, lucky that nobody was watching it at that point in time as he moves away and just starts to put down the Toxic Babe canisters into the default plant spot. Rips is going to look to move in through the single door, but won't be able to get in safely necessarily to that normal position. He's absolutely eating damage up there as the second one goes out. He's now one shot at best. Aces, however, finds Anarchic. Gorgona manages to get one. Diffusers down. Can he survive? Yes, he can. Cowana, what a round. Just all down to 2 things. The Toxic Babe canisters, which ate away at Rips' life, and then Gorgona having the presence of mind to just shut down the one man. The one man who could keep that clock ticking was Rips with that diffuser in hand. But no, Gorgona finds the shots and then just keeps himself alive.
I've been waiting for 5 rounds now for Gorgona to die whilst I'm casting, and it hasn't happened 5 rounds in a row. Either you've been talking or he hasn't died, because I've got a pun about his name that I want to drop.
I'll try and avoid it on the next round.
It's killing me.
I'll do my best.
It's the one thing I want out of this last game. If nothing else, you've given me Coastline. Somewhere, God, give me a gift.
I will make sure that that you get a Gorgona death. We're gonna.
I mean,
if he dies again,
many.
I mean, I can't control that. But heading into round 7, then it's going to be Hooker and Billiards this time around. We'll Be fascinated to see how Cowana do on the attack here. Obviously carrying a lot of momentum from that defensive phase. 5-1, it's gone very well for them. Can they continue that here? Rogue, to be honest, I think Cowana probably can continue it because Rogue don't really look competitive at the minute. They're not really winning a lot of gunfights. You know, the aggression isn't really there from them. So for me, I think if Cowana come in with the same sort of mentality and the same sort of pace that they've been playing with there, I don't think they're going to have too much of a problem closing this out.
Dare I say, Rogue don't give a massive monkeys about this game. We said earlier on they should, because ultimately
when they might come the end of stage 3.
Yeah, you look back at those 3 points, know what you're coming into again. And the thing is, I remember Leon, being serious for a moment, I remember last year when they were in relegation, Leon, after they won the game against M&M and retained their place in EUL, Chaos faced auto-relegation. It was Cowana, the other team in today's game, who got the auto-relegation from CL. Leon was saying, you know, that's been months of stress just building up behind us now. Like, for this moment, it got delayed from December, I think, until January, for example. And they were just like, the stress that we've had behind us all these months, knowing what could happen if we don't win this game, is almost unbearable. And I'm pretty sure they know more than anyone, all 5 players, what that feels like. And no one wants to be there again. So I'm not saying, you know, boys, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice by not really pressing for a win in this game. But Cowana are definitely the ones who look a little bit sharper, especially leaning towards Sloth and Gorgona here.
Going to potentially have a bit of a run-out attempt here. The panel will get knocked out of the barricade, but Corey dips away from it, decides he doesn't want any of that action. There's a fear on the upside-down rappel there, quickly flipping attention over. Mr. Officer just being very careful that he's not going to get sprung out on. Now, Aces is just sat inside of luggage, will get spotted out by the drone there. He's just holding his...
Imagine if he hit the headshot.
Holding his fire, just waiting to see if that drone passed him by without picking him up, but it won't do. Now, Corey's playing underneath, looking for that vertical C4 that could come in should they try to get themselves established inside of VIP. But for the time being, that is not the attempt of Cowana. They've got one man outside on the balcony, so it may come, but for the time being, no action there.
Gorgona's on danger money here because he's playing the sledge as well, and I think trying to find out exactly what the bloody Nora is going on downstairs with Corey with the C4 in hand, but they've dipped away and now they're looking to push in through the above office here, through Aqua, and maybe try and look for a plant. There's 3 of them crawling around down here, 2 still pushing up to the north. So a little bit of a split coming out for the side of Cowana, looking for that VIP long angle that we spoke about earlier. Grenade in hand from Sloth. He yeets it right through to the back of sight and does tickle Leon a little bit, but not enough to do any serious damage. A bit of a spray coming through as Leon went to go and try and challenge, but no one going down just yet. Here's attempt number 2. Another grenade comes in, falls a little bit short.
Rips is going to open things up with the kill onto Sloth. Not a bad one to start you off. He was 9-3 at that point in time. He's been going pretty well so far today, hitting his shots. Looking sharp, but Leon manages to stay in position behind that reinforcement, which is going to be particularly important as this round progresses. Now, Gorgona looking to use those angles that have been opened up in the wall by the Hibana. Sees a man strafe across, unable to pick up his shots. And Arkic, however, will find the kill onto Aces. 30 seconds left to go. Cowana needs to be making some progress. Grizzly finds a kill onto Leon, but it's quickly traded out by Rips. 3 versus 3 here. They need to think about getting that diffuser down. That's exactly what Anarchic's doing, and it's all going in the favour of Cowana. Another important kill from Officer. There's a second for him. That 16 might get a bit closer.
He loves
Look
it.
at that.
Look at
he
him.
loves it. He's getting right involved. Again, important kills for Mr. Officer. I've said it. Every one of his kills has been pretty impactful.
He knows you're talking about him, so he's like, Ace, shh, mwah, mwah, my audience, my fans, shh. That was him the whole way through there. I was still watching out for Gorgona dying, by the way. It's not going to happen. The man is invincible. This is it. You come up with a funny line to say when someone gets a kill, when someone dies.
You have to save it. Just keep hold of
It
it.
never happens. It's killing me.
Keep hold of it.
Unlike Gorgona, he's not dying.
6-1 now.
That's the last chance I get to say it.
6-1 now to Cowana.
I'm
going to come into what could be the final round here. It's going to be a defence of Blue Bar and Sunrise for Rogue. Cowana looking pretty strong on the attack there. They were 3 versus 3, but then it all just started to fall apart as soon as Anarchic went to get that diffuser down. Rogue just seemed to lose their heads a little bit and were picked up by Gorgona and Mr. Officer. So this time they're going to head downstairs. So Cowana likely to get themselves in, try and get vertical control established, open up some angles with Gorgona on the sledge, get those defenders moving, get them dancing a jig inside a sight, and they'll put them down if they can.
Jess came in doing a little dance. I don't know what the dance was, but then equally that question was asked of me and Jess earlier when it came to Happen Fluke, and they were just like, I don't know what that dance was, and I'm like, neither do we. We were just having a bit of a vibe, okay? That's the way it goes on the desk sometimes. Come Come on, Ace, talk to me. I can't do this serious thing anymore.
Nothing but good vibes here in the EUL, Des.
Yeah, we had a good time today.
We've had a good time.
We had the real pinnacle that we were excited for today was if Vitality won their game, what Na'Vi had to do. And it turns out, well, dumpstering BDS was on the menu because they made that look pretty simple. And it was an interesting message, actually. Someone DM'd me saying, like, the one thing to consider is because BDS have only just got to a boot camp, it doesn't mean they're automatically going to be amazing.
Well, they're not just going to be like straight on it.
But think about the adaptation, right? You're very used to your home setup. You played there the whole stage, and suddenly you're uprooted and moved, and you play in a room with everyone. It's not your natural setup. It's a different desk, maybe a different chair. That's a lot that can unsettle someone.
I think the other factor to think about that we've not actually mentioned is with Na'Vi winning that game, for me, that takes a little bit of maybe the heartbreak or the pressure out of it for Vitality. Because whilst they didn't put the pressure on Na'Vi, they didn't win their game, the fact that Na'Vi rolled over BDS, it takes it away. It doesn't matter what Vitality did now. There was nothing they could have done. With Na'Vi winning that game, that was it.
What's harder, do you think, though? Knowing you've done everything you could have done and still falling short, or knowing you didn't do what you could have done?
I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's better than it was, I think. Sloth coming in with a big 2K there. This one's going to be over quickly if it continues like this. Rogue absolutely falling to pieces at the minute here on Coastline. And Arkit's getting the diffuser down. Nobody's in a position to deny him. Not going to matter as the kills come in one after another. It's a flawless round. And I tell you what, Des, it always seems to be Cowana that have those sorts of games where they just absolutely steamroll teams.
No, it's Coastline, Ace.
It's not. We saw Cowana do it on Oregon in stage 1. It just always seems to be Cowana when the big steamroller comes in.
Tell me you ever see a round like that ever in your life. It's unbelievable. The saying I was looking for, Gorgona's a Gorgona. When he died.
Oh, you should have saved it. That was a good one.
I will, because you know what? We'll go with the little audience rule.
People will forget.
Exactly. They'll forget that one. I like it. It's getting reused at some point. I like the patience is a virtue, but is virtue patient one. That was a good one earlier as well. Let's not talk about the game too much. What do you want to say about that game, Ace?
I want to say that Cowana were very dominant. You know, as many times as I can say it, I've said it today even, you can only beat the team in front of you. And that's exactly what they've done. And we keep saying this, you have to look ahead to stage 3. And if at a point in time you are facing relegation battles, if at a point in time you miss out on something by 3 points, you're looking back to these matchups. And I know it's the last play day of the stage, but you don't want to be looking back on these thinking, did we give that our all? You don't.
Very true.
And so Cowana, you know, well played to them. They've come out and they've put an important...
And not at all to say that he's not a good player, because he's played all right today, actually. Officer has stepped in as their coach, a sub for them, and they've got 2 wins off the back of it.
Yep.
That's not bad. You wait until they're at full strength. They were saying, this is my final form yet. They've got one more player, of course, to join them, and I'm really keen to see who that is come stage 3. But for the last time in stage 2 across EUL and APAC, let's throw it to the desk and get their thoughts on the chaos that was Coastline.
Thank you so very much, boys. Yes, we went to Coastline for our